control, especially mine. So, Fiona and Jarlath, it must be amazing to have all your friends, relatives, people that feel special to you here at the one time. And did any of them actually mention to you that the meal you just had is known as the wedding breakfast? And you might ask why that is. Because it's the first meal you have after you've just woken up to what you've actually done. So, anyway. Bravo. But seriously, today's date signals a change and the start of a new relationship between two great families, the McIntoshes and the Scannells. Thank you. So, it's only appropriate that we take time out to reflect on the past and look towards the future. A future, I might say, looks very bright for my beautiful sister and my new brother-in-law. Thank you. But most important of all, we're here to acknowledge the marriage of Fiona and Jarlath. To start the proceedings, I'd like to ask to the microphone the bride's father, Mr. Ewen McIntosh from Tansey, Queensland, for a welcome speech. Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Did you bring your notes? Yeah. Just keep it up nice and close to you.
Yeah, there.
Nice and close.
Thank you very much, Roger. Is it working?
That's right
Up there.
Yeah, right
Oh, thanks very much, Roger. I did forget my notes. Actually, I didn't even write them, but I get told every time there's a wedding on, write some notes. I said, oh, don't worry about it, I'll think of something. They said, that's what we're worried about. You might think of something. But ladies and gentlemen, Jarlath and Fiona, is it working?
Is it turned on? Bigger and more front on.
Like that?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Right up.
Better start again. Jarlath and Fiona, the bridal party, Rory, Kenny, Grania, Phil and Dan, ladies and gentlemen, and a very, very special welcome to our friends from the Emerald Isle. And I think we ought to give them a little round of applause for coming all this way. Now, the Emerald Isle is nothing like Australia, but the people, well, they're sort of like Australians. But it is certainly great to see so many come out and make the big journey out here on this wonderful day. It has been a wonderful day. The bridal party looks superb, and I'm afraid Rachel. Did I mention you before, Rachel? Oh, got you, Rachel. Never mind. Rachel and Grania, you look absolutely stunning, but I'm afraid I only had eyes for my beautiful daughter. And Marcia and I are just so proud that everyone said I'd never ever walk my daughter, a daughter, up the aisle, that I was never in the slightest doubt. And we're so very proud, Marcia and I, today, for that little short walk up the aisle of Benera Church, knowing that the other end was a man that she loves, and he's a man that we can welcome into our family with open arms. We are absolutely delighted to welcome you, Jarlath, into our family. And Dan and Phil, you have every reason to be proud of your son, a very presentable young man indeed. There's a few things. There's a few things you have to do. We'll give you a couple of weeks to know the names of every cousin, every grandchild, their birthdays, their wedding anniversaries. And after that, you've got to remember the Test cricket captains from 1928 to 2008. That is compulsory, that is. But all jokes aside, it's been a wonderful day. And to to welcome you all here today on this wonderful occasion. See so many friends. And Grandma Stevens sends her love. She doesn't get about much these days, but don't play a Scrabble. And my brother-in-law, Hubert Graham, sends his love. Wonderful man, and he sends his love. And the cycle of life affects everyone, and we cannot gloss over the fact that we have lost loved ones in the last 12 months. We think of them a lot, but the cycle of life goes on, and you just look over there to those children over there, so it goes round and round. And I think those children over there are being led by those twins, are they? Or are they in bed? Or perhaps Darcy's leading them. But so life goes on. There always comes to a part in the speech where, you know, I'm supposed to say a few wise words, but I'm told every time not to waffle on. And I said, oh, why not? And they said, your ideas of marriage in 1963 are quite different to 2008. I said, oh, I don't know. I've been as happy as a pig in mud with my marriage. I mean, it's Fiona's brought up with 6 boys. She would have learned a lot. And it's pretty simple, really. Chocolate cakes, cups of tea, whenever in demand, complete control of the remote, and little things like that that makes life worth living. And you know, and I'm delighted to say that my daughter-in-laws have really embraced my philosophy. I've got 5 daughter-in-laws, and I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they're stunners. They're you know, you wouldn't believe you could have 5. My sons have been very fortuitous. You know, they're bright, and hard-working, do as they're told. It's really just marvellous, really. And Fiona, she's a very astute girl, Fiona. She would have lapped all that up. And, like, she can bring a Year 12 student to his knees by just looking at them. You know. So that's how, you know. And I'm sure that ladies, they just love it. It keeps them young. Now look at my good wife. You know, she's had an interesting life, a reasonably productive one. and look, she still looks so young and youthful, and it's just amazing, really. So Fiona, if you want to keep young and youthful, and my daughter-in-laws, wherever they all are, if you want to keep young and youthful, Twitter that, you know, Roger. And whenever I visit their homes, it's just like being at home. You walk in, you get a cup of tea, a bit of cake, and they say, come and have a look at my granny flat. And I haven't had any offers yet, though. But in all, it's been a wonderful day. And we thank you all for coming, particularly the people from across the sea. And we hope that Jarlath and Fiona, you're very successful at your chosen professions. And I'm sure the words of the Reverend Don Campbell, who I thank very heartily for coming back, and Father Dan, I hope you remember their words of wisdom. And really, and as the years roll by, I hope that you always walk in the shadow of God.
Thanks, Dad, for yet again another memorable off-the-cuff speech. It's fantastic. And well, Dad did allude to you know, the very successful marriages of all us boys in the McIntosh family, and I know I've been married to my good wife Shez here for 11 years, and our secret it's based on trust and understanding. She doesn't trust me, I don't understand her. So but also Fiona actually went to Dad for a bit of advice before the wedding. She was a bit worried about, you know, the cost of everything, etc. So she said, Dad, what's all this going to cost? Dad just looked at her and said, look, Fiona, I've been married 45 years and I'm still paying the price. So, I don't know what he meant by that. Next up to speak, could you please make feel welcome the groom's father, Mr. Dan Scannell, all the way from Sligo, Ireland. He'll be proposing a toast to the bride and groom.
You've got notes.
I have notes. I'm going to do it slightly differently. Have to be from being from Ireland.
Just a bit sort of. All right. That's
This
it.
one.
That's good.
The day is Thursday. The date is the 13th of August, 1981. The time is 8:23. The location is Mount Carmel Hospital in Dublin, in Ireland. That is when a child, known to us all now as Jarlath Dennis Scannell, was born and has enriched our lives ever since. But on being brought home from hospital, he was totally angelic by day. But from about 9 p.m. at night until about 5 a.m. in the morning, there was a continuous bawl, which many times brought threats of rather extreme corrective action. But thankfully, this ended after about 4 weeks. But apart from the usual pram pushing, our first major outing as a group, out of the father and son, was to Croke Park in Ireland. Croke Park is the headquarters of the Gaelic Athletic Association, which promote our national games. And the occasion in October 1984 was a football match, a compromise football match between Ireland and, yes, Australia. I still have the programme of that game. I still have written on it John's first visit to Croke Park. And we still remember names from that outing. We remember names like, and you probably don't remember, Ross Glendenning, a fellow called Maurice Frioli, and a fellow called Gary Perth. I don't know why they're stuck in our names. But in between all those great players was a man called Gary McIntosh, played for Australia. So there's coincidences already. We've been all over, probably all over most of Europe, to games. We've been to Cardiff Arms Park, we've been to Twickenham, we've been to Coventry, we've been to Manchester, the home of our favourite Manchester United, and we have travelled probably all the stadia of the Gaelic Athletic Association in Ireland. But Jarlath's interest was not solely in sporting pursuits. He has acquired an encyclopedic knowledge of many things, mainly due to his great interest in reading. And our family homes in Dublin, in Blackline in County Cavan, along the border with Northern Ireland, and more recently in Sligo, have had libraries. We were very lucky. We had libraries. But not the libraries in the traditional sense. Our libraries didn't have shelves, didn't have chairs, didn't have tables, and so on. Our library was known as the toilet. So from a very young age, when Jarlath was not to be found, or did not answer on the point of call, the toilet was the inevitable place to be found. Engrossed in some form, and I say some form, of reading material. On Sundays after church, we would go for a walk, particularly in Dublin, in the Phoenix Park, and Jarlath would travel along with his tractor and trailer. And he would put stones into the tractor and trailer just to make it more noisy. And all these people looking along at this guy pedaling along like mad with stones hopping out of his trailer. And then his school days began, first in Dublin and then on to Blackline in County Cavan. and then on to Minor Hamilton in Leitrim, and then Summerhill in Sligo, where some of his schoolmates were some members of the Westlife band. So he's that call to claim as well. Or rather, they have that call to claim. And then finally, of course, his final pursuit, he went to university in Galway, and his last pursuit was to Dagenham, where this chapter now begins. Jarlath, I can truly say, never caused us any grief in any aspect of his life. And to me and his mother and sister, and to all he encountered, he was an exemplary young man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, but that's the way it is. And so ends that chapter. And so we move on to December the 10th, 2006. The venue is Cardiff in Wales. The occasion is Munster versus the Cardiff Blues in the Heineken Cup. I fly over from Dublin to Birmingham, those who know the history of or the geography of England, and I fly to move on to Cardiff. And there I'm introduced by Jarlath to, this is Fiona. It was a cold day, a wet day. Fiona had some head cover and a black coat. But I will always remember her fond embrace. I didn't get a good look at her, but I've her fond embrace. And just on remembering last night, I thought it was a nice time to remember. But Fiona very quickly reminded me, oh, that was the day that Donnacha O'Callaghan, who was a lock forward playing for Munster, played with his protective underwear, his pants having been pulled off. So I'm confused at this stage. Does she rather remember Donnacha O'Callaghan's protective red underwear or her future father-in-law to be? However, having said that, the following Christmas of 2006, we had Fiona to spend Christmas with us. And it was like our daughter. What we saw is what we get. Apart from her natural beauty, with those ever so proud dimples, the beauty that I will remember is the beauty of her personality. Vivacious, intelligent, kind, presentable, but most of all, normal. A very normal person. And we immediately accepted her as one of our own. And today I'm very glad to accept her fully as one of our own. Then that depth and warmth, she spent to Christmas 2007 with us as well. We were very delighted to have her. And then earlier this year, we had her mother Marcy and her aunt spend a week with us in Sligo. And that further exemplified the kindness and the welcome of the McIntosh family. And then our arrival here in Australia, when we met the extended family of all the boys, her dad, who we hadn't met before, and all the in-laws and the wives, of the extraordinary welcome, more than any other one could have wished for. I'm not going to go on. All I would say is, as Ewan has said, life can be challenging. Life is not easy. But all I would say is, keep it simple. Do the simple things right. Love one another, and I mean love in the true sense. Understand one another, respect one another, be there for one another. And with that, Fiona, it is my pleasure to formally welcome you into our family. We wish both you and John every good wish for the future, and long may our contacts continue. So I would ask you please to be upstanding and I propose to toast to the bride and groom. To the bride and groom. And so with that, I will finish. I regret my outburst, but it had to come sooner or later. And as we say in Irish, Slán a Gaibh go léir, which means goodbye to everybody.